I settled for you. My ex was better in every way, and I've regretted it every day. She screamed at a party in front of our friends. I said nothing, just left. Our mutual friend texted me an hour later. She just called her ex. He laughed and hung up on her. A week later, she showed up at my door crying. I said, "Go find better," and closed it. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I didn't realize I was a placeholder until the lease renewal came up. Looking back, the signs were there from the start. I was the guy who made sense on paper. I'm 29, I work as a systems architect, I have a healthy 401k, and I drive a car that doesn't break down. I'm reliable. I'm stable. I'm the guy you marry when you're done having fun. Sarah was different. She was chaos wrapped in a sundress. She was vibrant, loud, and incredibly magnetic. When we met 2 years ago, she was recovering from a breakup with a guy named Damien. Damien was everything I wasn't. He was a club promoter slash DJ slash aspiring something. He was exciting. He was dangerous. He was also allegedly abusive, cheated constantly, and borrowed money he never paid back. When Sarah and I started dating, she constantly told me how refreshing it was to be with someone who didn't scream at her. She loved that I paid the bills on time. She loved that I moved us into a spacious 2-bedroom apartment in the city. She loved the safety. But she didn't love me. She loved the lifestyle I provided. It started with small comments about 6 months in. Backhanded compliments that stung just enough to leave a mark. "I love that you're so predictable," she'd say while watching me meal prep on a Sunday. Damien would have us on a plane to Vegas right now with $0 in his pocket. It was stressful, but God, the rush was insane. "Well, at least we aren't stranded in Vegas," I'd reply, trying to keep it light. She would just sigh, looking at her phone. "Yeah, at least we're safe." That word, safe. She started using it like a slur. The phone usage got worse over the last 3 months. She was always smiling at her screen, tilting it away whenever I walked into the room. When I asked who she was talking to, it was always just the girls or work drama. But I knew. You always know. The intimacy died off, too. It became mechanical. If I tried to initiate anything, she'd sigh and say, "Can we just watch a movie? I'm not in the mood." Yet, 20 minutes later, she'd be posting thirst traps on her Instagram story, captioning them with cryptic lyrics about missing the fire. I swallowed my pride. I told myself it was a phase. I told myself that stability wasn't sexy, but it was permanent, and she would realize that eventually. I was wrong. I was paying the rent for a woman who was actively grieving the loss of a toxic relationship while sleeping in my bed. I was the waiting room, and her number was about to be called. The explosion happened at our friend Mike's 30th birthday party. It was a backyard barbecue setup. Lots of people, loud music, and an open bar. Sarah had been tense all day. She'd spent 2 hours getting ready, trying on 4 different outfits, obsessing over how she looked. "Who are you trying to impress?" I asked, half joking, as she adjusted her dress in the hallway mirror. "Nobody," she snapped. "I just don't want to look like a suburban housewife just because I'm dating you." Ouch. We arrived at the party, and she immediately hit the tequila. Hard. Within an hour, she was buzzed. Within 2, she was sloppy. She was holding court in a circle of our friends. Mike, his fiancée Jessica, and a few others. I was standing near the grill, nursing a beer, watching her. She was glued to her phone again, texting furiously, laughing, then looking up at me with a sneer, then back to the phone. I walked over to hand her a water. "Hey," I said quietly. "Maybe slow down on the shots? We have to drive home later." She looked at the water like I had handed her poison. The conversation in the circle died down. Everyone sensed the shift. "Stop trying to control me," she slurred, her voice too loud for the close proximity. "God, you are so suffocating." "I'm not controlling you, Sarah. You're stumbling." "I'm having fun," she shouted, throwing her hands up. "Do you remember what fun is? Or did you budget that out of the spreadsheet this month?" A few people chuckled nervously. Mike stepped in. "Hey, easy, Sarah. He's just looking out for you." She spun on Mike. "Oh, shut up. You guys all think he's so great because he's a nice guy. He's boring. He's dead weight." The backyard went silent. The music seemed to fade into the background. I felt the heat rise in my neck, but I kept my voice calm. "Okay, we're leaving. Grab your purse." I turned to walk away, expecting her to follow. She didn't follow. She detonated. I settled for you. Her scream tore through the party. Every single head turned. 30 people froze, drinks halfway to their mouths. I stopped. I turned back slowly. She was standing there, chest heaving, phone clutched in her hand like a weapon, tears of rage in her eyes. I settled, she screamed again, pointing a shaking finger at me. My ex was better in every way. He was a man. He had passion. He made me feel alive. You're nothing. You're just a paycheck and a place to sleep. The cruelty of it was breathtaking. It was so raw, so honest, that it didn't even sound like an insult. It sounded like a confession she had been holding in for 2 years. I regret it every single day, she yelled, her voice breaking. I wish I never met you. You're pathetic. The silence that followed was heavy. Our friends looked at me with a mix of horror and pity. Jessica looked like she wanted to throw up. She stood there, defiant, waiting for me to fight back. She wanted me to scream. She wanted a dramatic scene to validate her chaos. She wanted to prove that I was just as toxic as Damien, so she could feel justified in hurting me. I gave her nothing. I looked her in the eyes. I didn't frown. I didn't cry. I looked at her with the detached curiosity of a stranger watching a car crash. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the keys to my car, and held them up. Okay, I said. My voice was steady. No waver. I turned around and walked out of the backyard. Where are you going? She screeched behind me. I'm talking to you. Don't you walk away from me. I kept walking. Through the side gate. Down the driveway. Into my car. I started the engine, backed out, and drove away. I didn't look in the rearview mirror. As I merged onto the highway, the silence in the car was beautiful. I expected to feel heartbreak. I expected to feel crushed. Instead, I felt the strangest sensation wash over me. Relief. I was finally free. But Sarah? Her night was just getting started. And as I would find out an hour later, she was about to make the biggest mistake of her life. I checked into a hotel about 20 minutes away. A Hampton Inn. Nothing fancy, just quiet. I didn't turn my phone on for an hour. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the beige wall, waiting for the wave of sadness to hit me. But it didn't come. Instead, my brain was running the numbers. The lease was in my name. The car was in my name. The streaming services were on my card. I wasn't losing a partner. I was shedding a dependent. When I finally flipped my phone screen over, it was lit up like a Christmas tree. 14 missed calls from Sarah. 6 voicemails. But I ignored those. I opened the text from Mike, the host of the party. It was a long block of text, sent 10 minutes after I left. Mike, dude, I don't even know what to say. You need to know what happened after you drove off. It was brutal. I texted back. Tell me. 3 dots appeared. Then, the play-by-play that sealed her fate. According to Mike, Sarah didn't chase after me. She didn't cry immediately. When I drove off, the crowd turned on her. Jessica, Mike's fiancée, apparently asked her, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Sarah, fueled by tequila and arrogance, decided to double down. She couldn't handle looking like the bad guy, so she tried to pivot. She tried to convince everyone that she was the victim of a boring relationship and that she could do better instantly. She pulled out her phone. She looked everyone in the eye and said, "You guys think I need him? Please. Damien has been begging for me back for months. Watch this." She put Damien, the abusive, unstable bad boy she had compared me to, on speakerphone. The entire party went dead silent. It rang twice. "Damien, hello?" Sarah, smug voice, "Hey. It's me." "Damien, Sarah? Why are you calling me?" "Sarah, I left him. I finally did it. I know you've been waiting for this. I'm ready to come over." There was a pause. The kind of pause that feels like an eternity. Sarah was smiling at her friends, waiting for her victory lap, waiting for him to say, "Baby, come home." Instead, Damien laughed. A cold, cruel, dry laugh that echoed through the backyard. "Damien, you left the guy who pays for everything? For me?" "Sarah, I what?" "I did it for us." "Damien, Sarah, you're broke and you're psycho. I slept with you last month because I was bored, not because I want you moving into my mom's basement with me. Stay away from me." Click. Mike said you could hear a pin drop in the grass. Sarah stood there, the dial tone buzzing in her hand. The upgrade she had thrown in my face had just publicly rejected her, called her broke, and admitted he was using her, all in under 30 seconds. The friend she tried to impress didn't comfort her. Jessica just laughed, a short, sharp shock of a laugh, and walked inside. The circle dispersed. Sarah was left standing alone in the yard, holding a dead phone, realizing she had just torched her safety net for a safety net that didn't exist. I put my phone down on the hotel nightstand. I didn't smile. I didn't feel happy. I just felt vindicated. The woman who told me I wasn't enough just found out exactly what she was worth on the open market. I slept like a baby. The kind of deep, dreamless sleep you get when a fever finally breaks. When I woke up the next morning, Sunday, my phone was at 4% battery. I plugged it in and watched the notifications flood the screen. 32 missed calls. 40 texts. I scrolled through them. The evolution of her panic was fascinating to watch in real time. 10:30 p.m., Saturday, pick up the phone. 10:45 p.m., you embarrass me leaving like that. 11:15 p.m., where are you? Come home. 12:30 a.m., Sunday, I'm sorry. I was drunk. I didn't mean any of it. 2 a.m., baby please. Damien is a liar. I was just trying to make you jealous because I felt like you didn't care anymore. 4 a.m., I'm scared. Please call me. 8 a.m., are you breaking up with me? Please don't do this. I read them all with zero emotion. I didn't reply to her excuses. I didn't ask about Damien. I didn't engage with her feelings at all. I engaged with the logistics. I opened my banking app. I transferred half of our joint savings, exactly my contribution, into my personal account. I changed the password to the Netflix, the Spotify, and the Amazon Prime. Then, I sent one single text message. Me, I am not coming home today. We are done. You made it clear that you settled for me. I am no longer willing to be your settlement. Since the lease is in my name, you need to leave. I will give you until next Sunday to pack your things and find somewhere else. I will be back next Sunday at noon to collect my keys. Do not contact me before then. Then I blocked her number. I spent the next week floating. I went to work on Monday and felt lighter. I went to the gym on Tuesday and actually had a great workout. I realized how much mental energy I had been burning just trying to keep her happy, trying to be exciting enough, trying to compensate for an insecurity that wasn't mine. I heard through the grapevine that the fallout was severe. Mike told me she tried to stay at Jessica's place, but Jessica told her no. You humiliated him and ruined my party, she apparently said. Go stay with your parents. But she couldn't. Her parents lived 3 states away, and she had alienated them years ago, ironically, because of Damien. She was couch surfing. She was spiraling. She was realizing that boring paid the rent. Boring put food in the fridge, and boring was the only reason she had a life in this city. I didn't offer help. I didn't check in to see if she was safe. A week ago, I would have. I would have worried. But that part of me died in the backyard when she screamed that she regretted me. The week flew by. Sunday arrived. I checked out of the hotel at 11 a.m. I drove to the apartment complex. I parked my car, my reliable, paid-off car, in my spot. I walked up the stairs. My heart wasn't racing. I wasn't nervous. I was just ready to close the file on this bad investment. I put my key in the lock, but before I could turn it, the door swung open. She was waiting. She looked wrecked. Her hair was messy, her eyes were puffy and red, and she was wearing one of my old hoodies. The arrogance from the party was gone. The bad girl persona had evaporated. She stood in the doorway, trembling, surrounded by cardboard boxes. She looked at me like I was her savior, like I was going to fix this. You came back, she whispered, her voice cracking. I didn't step inside. I just stood on the welcome mat. I came for the keys, I said. Are you packed? She flinched at my tone. It wasn't the voice of her boyfriend. It was the voice of a landlord. Packed, she repeated, wiping her nose with the sleeve of my hoodie. Baby, please. Can we just talk? I can't. I can't leave today. I have nowhere to go. You had a week, I said, leaning against the doorframe. I didn't cross the threshold. I didn't want to give her the impression that I was entering our home. It was my home now. Where are the keys? She stepped forward, trying to close the gap between us, reaching out to touch my arm. I took a deliberate step back. Her hand hovered in the empty air, trembling. Stop, I said. Don't touch me. I made a mistake, she burst out, the tears starting to flow harder now. I was drunk. I was insecure. I saw everyone looking at us, and I wanted to feel important. I wanted to feel like I wasn't just the girlfriend. I didn't mean any of it. You meant every word, I corrected her calmly. Alcohol doesn't plant new thoughts, Sarah. It just unlocks the door to the ones you're hiding. You've thought I was boring for 2 years. You've thought you settled for 2 years. You finally just had the guts to say it. She shook her head violently. No, I love you. I realized it this week. When you were gone. God, it was a nightmare. Mike and Jessica won't talk to me. My mom said I can't come back there. And Damien. She choked on the name. Yeah, I said. I heard about the call. Her face crumpled in humiliation. He's a monster. He laughed at me. He told me I was nothing without you. She looked up at me, eyes wide and pleading. And he was right. You're the only good thing in my life. You're the only man who ever treated me with respect. Please, don't throw away 2 years because of one bad night. It was a masterful performance. If this had happened 6 months ago, I probably would have folded. I would have hugged her, told her we'd work on it, and apologized for making her feel insecure. But I looked at her now, and I didn't see a partner. I saw a liability. I saw someone who viewed my loyalty as a weakness and my stability as a cage. I checked my watch. You have the rest of the afternoon to get these boxes into your car. If you need a U-Haul, you'll have to pay for it yourself. Her expression shifted. The sorrow evaporated, replaced by a flash of that sharp, ugly anger she had shown at the party. You're really going to do this? She spat, her voice hardening. You're going to kick me out on the street? Over words? After everything I gave you. You gave me nothing, I said simply. I gave you a home. I gave you a car. I gave you a life you couldn't afford on your own. And in return, you told the world you settled. I held out my hand, palm open, expectant. The keys, Sarah. She stared at me, her chest heaving. She realized the anger wasn't working either. This safe guy, she mocked, was gone, replaced by a wall she couldn't climb. She reached into the pocket of the hoodie, my hoodie, and pulled out the key ring. She slammed them into my hand, the metal digging into my palm. You're going to regret this, she hissed, grabbing a box. You think you're some prize? You're going to be alone. You're boring, and you're cold, and you're going to die alone in this stupid apartment. I closed my fingers around the keys. The cool metal felt like victory. Maybe, I said. I stepped back out into the hallway, clearing the path for her to leave. She dragged the last box out, breathing heavily. She stood there in the hallway, waiting for me to crack, waiting for the last second reprieve. I settled for you, she whispered, one last attempt to hurt me. Remember that. I looked her dead in the eye. I know, I said, and I'm setting you free. Go find better. I didn't wait for a response. I stepped inside, closed the door, and turned the deadbolt. Click. I heard her sob on the other side. Then a kick against the door. Then silence. Update. 6 months later, it's been half a year since I locked that door. The silence in the apartment was strange for the first week, but then I filled it. I bought the expensive espresso machine she said was a waste of money. I started hiking on weekends instead of spending them at brunch places I hated. I got a promotion at work because I was actually focused, not worrying about what crisis was waiting for me at home. As for Sarah, karma works in funny ways. I ran into Mike a few weeks ago. He told me she never really got back on her feet. She bounced between a few casual flings, chasing that spark she was so obsessed with, but none of them let her move in. She's currently living in a studio apartment with 3 roommates on the bad side of town, working double shifts to cover her own rent. Mike said she asked about me. She asked if I was seeing anyone. He told her the truth. I'm seeing a pediatrician named Claire. She's kind. She has her own life, her own money, and her own ambition. She thinks my job is fascinating. She doesn't think safety is boring. She thinks it's a foundation. When Mike told Sarah that, she apparently just went quiet and looked down at her drink. She wanted excitement. She got it. She wanted the struggle. She got it. She said she settled for me. I finally realized she was right. I was the one settling. And now, I've finally upgraded. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.